they go with the Dawnbreaker. Another very lava hero, and yeah, they keep this Leshrac absolutely blind. Don't want to play into too many counter matchups here, but that's where, again, I love this Luna, and this is, I think, the second time we get this Luna SD combo, and it is still just as good. It feels very free, not to mention, I really like it, especially if it is going to be a Snapfire 3. I think this is kind of the perfect answer to what Thunder Awaken has previously been an unstoppable lane and Sacred just kind of walking away from it. But now maybe they decide to switch things up here. Maybe the Snapfire is a little bit too vulnerable. But that's also where I super love this Dawnbreaker. You weren't able to get the best save. You even ban out the Abaddon yourself. And unless you look for a hero like the Omni, you don't have that Dispel. But I absolutely love that save coming in from the Dawnbreaker. And something that really only Lava goes for, I want to say, nowadays. And Cat absolutely looks great on the hero. But that's where the Nyx Assassin, it's going to be a Matthew show now. It's going to be him trying to make plays all over the map.
And with that Nyx pickup, that should shift, as you said, Matthew, onto that hero. That means, presumably, you are going to have Sacred on that 3 snap, and then the Mars should be Dark Mago's pickup in the middle lane. So, a little bit of a shift from maybe what we had originally been anticipating, but as you said, ET, that Mars is, at this stage, almost a fake-out pick. Very rarely does Sacred actually play that hero that normally dominates the offlane role. So, Thunder Predator trying to mix things up here, but at this stage, it's a nice move for them to switch, but if you're Lava, you really, at this point, only care about Picas's hero.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think what they could go for now. Of course, when you're playing versus Luna, it's all about the range game. It's all about whether or not you can keep her as far away from you as possible, or it's about picking up a hero like Troll and then just running her down. But I think that's where you also have to look at the Shadow Demon. You have to be careful. You don't want to get Picasa in a position where he's going to be hit by the Demonic Purge every single time, and then he just is not able to play his game. If he has some of that, I want to say, pseudo mobility that maybe we could see him pick up, that would be absolutely crucial for him. And not to mention, I almost wish Thunder Awaken looked for perhaps a better Boots of Bearing hero. Not saying that Picasa is going to be the one to pick it up, but seeing that item versus Shadow Demon is really sad for the Shadow Demon. Just having the 1.5 seconds where you're unslowable, it's not like a Stampede by any means, but it does feel like maybe your carry just is able to play a little bit more. And I don't think we're going to see that from the Nyx Assassin, which is a little bit sad. But I think, that, again, Lava are right on the money with their bans. Banning out the Ghost of Beal, or not the Ghost of Beal, the Picasa, Chaos Knight, and the Medusa. Both of them would have been fantastic options versus the Luna. And I think now, if you're Lava, well, you have to solidify your lineup. Do you want Frank to be your offlane Leshrac? Or more likely, I think we are going to see Leostar go on that hero, and instead, we do see him pick up the offlaner here.
Yeah, I mean, the Lesh versus the Mars mid is, I think, something Leostar is going to be able to handle the vast majority of the time. So we'll see what they want to look at for the offlane, but a lot of those options have already been taken away. Your Death Prophet, your Timber, your Beast, even the Veno banned out at the end, but okay. That does leave Lava with the Legion Commander. That's a hero that largely we've been seeing the likes of 4 Zoomers favoring, but Frank certainly no stranger to that pickup as well, and now you've got that little bit of sort of added durability, right? The Legion Commander and the Dawnbreaker can buy a lot of time. You've got the Shadow Demon for defensive purposes as well, so Thunder Awaken are going to have to be careful. If they go all in on that first swing, they have to make sure it's going to connect, otherwise the longevity that Lava have could really turn fights against them.
Yeah, and really just a perfect offlaner. I think it was really down to either the LC or the Sand King, just because it's a little bit of a toss-up. I think Sand King, though, just maybe subjectively here plays pretty poorly versus the Nyx Assassin, and you don't really want to force your offlaner into that type of position. But that's where now you have your purge. Now your lack of any dispel is not really going to come back to bite you, and there is a very strong push coming in from Lava here. When the Luna and the Leshrac get onto your buildings, Thunder Awaken have to be concerned here, and I can only imagine we're going to see Matthew go for the Ags build and possibly a few more points up in mana burn, as it does seem to be the way Nyx has shifted. And okay. Razor, Picasa's done this before. They've also picked it versus the Luna before, and it is a brutal matchup, something that Kataro's going to need to itemize for. Might see him go for an earlier pike just so he has that tool away from himself, but you also are playing this Razor into Shadow Demon. That's 100% going to be a concern here, and whether or not I think they find their way onto the SD is going to be really paramount for Thunder Awaken taking some of these team fights, because if he gets Demonic Purged up, we've seen how fast these carries are dying, especially when they just get to lay into him And the other part of Razor, that's your early BKB. That's your first item BKB type carry. So as soon as you get towards that 6-second cooldown, the fights need to be really tight from Thunder Awaken.
Yeah, the fight needs to either be over by the time that BKB's done, or those 6 seconds need to be used to get Pakaz basically a full duration static link. If one of those two things hasn't occurred, then you might run into some serious issues in terms of their damage and their durability. But, well, we'll have to wait and see. As you said, when they picked up the hero, we have seen Pakaz run this before to, honestly, relatively solid effect. It's just going to be a matter of how long he lasts and how close he can get to those primary targets.
Yeah. And I think really the name of the game for Lava is going to be getting in onto a tower, forcing their opponents to run at them, disengaging, and then coming back for the fight. And I think that's where Thunder Awaken, they can't let him go. They can't let him escape. They need to be really decisive when it comes to finding these saves. And if they can find, as we usually talk about with these big carry teams, the pecking order, if they can get the SD first, if they can find the Dawnbreaker, force him to ult in a pretty unideal situation, then Thunder Awaken can just run at you. They can kind of run over you. But that's also where I want to see what Lava's able to do versus the Sacred Snapfire. A lot of teams, maybe you kill him once in lane, but it feels like he has 5 or 6 kills by the end of the laning stage, and he just gets his 6 before you do, and then kills you for free because of that. And I think that's where shutting him down is going to be very important for them.
Well, we are ready to go here. First match of our upper bracket final. The winner obviously advances to the grand final and gets maybe a day or two to sit back and relax while the rest of the lower bracket sort of, well, unfolds around them. So we shall see how this one goes. Last time these two teams faced off, Thunder Awaken were pretty dominant. 2-0 victory. Of course, Thunder Awaken 2-0 just about everybody. So not overly strange to see, but your Lava, you are looking for some revenge here, trying to really break through that trend of near invincibility that Thunder Awaken have put together, as we did have a pause right at the very start. So screen went a little black for a moment as the game was processing that, but we are going to give this a little bit of extra time before we get going. I don't believe anyone's DC'd here, ET, so maybe just some start lag for the players, which is some good news, because, well, if no one's having an issue big enough to actually DC them, hopefully we can get back and ready to go in maybe just a minute or two.
No, would love to see that. Just a quick game, nice and easy. But that's also where I really don't know which team to give the laning stage. I think everyone is going to be pretty happy, pretty solid. I think the easiest lane for Lava to maybe pull one over their opponents is probably going to be the Luna lane, just because, as we see with Luna as a carry, you just have a little bit more damage, a little bit more disable to give over to your 5 position, and that's also where Cat-U is probably the strongest level 2 hero in the game, and that's where I think Thunder Awaken need to be pretty careful here, because it's the type of lane where you start to fall behind, you start to lose a few levels against the Luna, and then suddenly Matthew leaves. Matthew is not going to stick in lane. He's going to be running around for those water runes. He's going to be looking for his levels elsewhere. And he's going to take over mid as soon as Dark Mago gets his arena, and then he's probably going to come top. But that's where I think Thunder Awaken really need to find a balance, and falling behind in that top lane early on is going to be a struggle, especially because, well, the Luna, once you get level 5, level 6, we always see him rotate out. Not to mention, I think the Shadow Demon, it is going to be played by Moose, but he's going to be constantly stacking. He's constantly going to be setting up his jungle for the Luna to farm, and then the name of the game might be whether or not we could actually defend those stacks.
Right, a little bit of a switch up. Meanwhile, I do want to point out at this stage, Kataro, he already sort of pre-skilled the Lunar Blessing, so you see him pushing forward with his teammates into the river, but if it comes down to a fight, you're not going to have the Lucent Beam for him. The good news, though, for that Luna is that it doesn't seem like there's going to be an engagement. Thunder Awaken are already sort of backing away from the area, just trying to take their own half of the map.
And Frank he's trying, and failing. So he just walks away. But it's normal stuff so far. Just 2-2 split.
Yeah, even split on those runes. Kataro's going to pick up 2, and, well, we'll settle into the laning stage, see how things look here early on. As Sacred and Cat, you say, no, let's fight right now. Trading out some damage. Cat-U, though, there's really not a whole lot to be done here. Once those first spells are exchanged, he just sort of backs away. But that's to a certain extent what the Dawnbreaker is going to be here for, right? Try and get those brawls early, make that play when you're level 2 that we always see from this Dawnbreaker support to try and get a kill, and other than that, be as obnoxious as possible. But Matthew on the Nyx is playing the exact same game plan, and it feels like Matthew's going to sort of win this exchange, especially since he's holding the Impale. Katyu has to be very careful how long he waits, because, yeah, that will happen. Just breaking up that Starbreaker combo.
Yeah, and honestly though, this is a pretty big win for Kataro. As long as the Nyx Assassin is not close enough to follow up with Sacred, then there isn't really an opportunity onto him. At the same time, yeah, look at them. They're constantly looking for the play, and
Got level
do they
2.
get him here?
There's
They
the
gotta
cookie
get
into
in
the
front.
scatter. You see?
Well,
Oh, tower shot almost sort of makes that one rough. But that immediate ping coming out, the second that Sacred hits level 2, they are sort of calling that play. Go in for the kill, first blood to them. Matthew's even going to pull the creep wave back here. So, get some more experience, hit his own level 2, force the Luna to farm underneath the tower, and... well, you were saying before this was going to work great for Kataro as long as Katyu could sort of keep heroes occupied, but once Katyu's out of the lane, your Luna may be a little bit less comfortable, although you wouldn't be able to tell with the way that they're sort of aggressively pushing their way forward.
no, and Matthew did steal Creep Wave though, which is going to be a little bit of a problem for the Luna. There are quite a few creeps that actually Kataro has to kill here, but it's also where Sacred's struggling a little bit when it comes to getting some of these last hits. It's the simple base damage difference between the heroes. I think the Glaive is also just a little bit of an easier animation. But I think going forward now, Sacred's going to be level 3. It's going to be very dangerous. Not to mention Matthew. He's going to probably throw out a bunch of those mana burns, be very obnoxious. And once the Dawnbreaker's out of mana or has to buy some more mangoes instead of salves, we could see Guitar really feel the harass. Another nice impale from Matthew.
He is timing that one out really so well. Katyu obviously still does a little bit of damage, you know, with the first couple of swipes, but doesn't get the knockup, doesn't get the last bit of damage in there, so Matthew's just trying to sort of handle him at the moment. Meanwhile, taking a look down to that bottom lane, we'll see how Vikaz is farming up here on that Razor. 13-4, not too bad. Frank, on the other hand, is not quite on the same level. About half the last hits, no denies from the LC right now, but if you're Frank, you and Kim aren't exactly going to be able to find easy pickoffs here. He's just looking for some farm and presumably a fast level 6.
Well, you did get countered. Unfortunately, yeah, not a play. And maybe they can get some grass on the Frank. I don't think they know, but yeah, he doesn't actually have the press the attack, and maybe they can just tell with what level Frank is already. But that's also where constantly the only way that these raiding heroes really die, and Kaz actually got clipped by that, is if they get the 5 stacks of Shadow Poison. If we see that Soul Catcher at level 3, we could certainly see Pakaz go down if he's not too careful, because the magic nuke, it's honestly very powerful along with the overwhelming odds, but it's also where I think Frank has had to use all of his mana when it comes to getting these last hits, because he did get razored, and it's always going to be a little bit annoying, but that's where if they can get a nice early kill, that would easily stabilize his lane.
We'll see. Well, we'll see what comes their way. Maybe Pakaz can be baited into pushing too far forward. So far, I really think that's been the case. The Razor has just been sort of chilling back on his own half, and Lava haven't really been able to shift up the equilibrium in this lane all that significantly. So we'll see what Kim can do, but for now it looks like it's just going to be this way for the foreseeable future. In the meantime, take a look at the mid matchup here. Dark Mago on the Mars going up against Leo Styles Leshrac, and well, this one's just going to be kind of awkward for the Mars. He is relatively durable, so at least he's got that going for him, but you see Leo Style just emphasizing the Lightning Storm build. That damage at range not only puts the pressure onto Dark Mago, but with this many points into it, you really can just sort of control, well, at least the range creep for sure, but maybe the entire wave at this point as you see that Mars being pushed all the way back.
Yeah, and I do wonder why Wheelstone necessarily goes for this build. I get that his TP rotations are much stronger now. He's actually able to respond with a lot of his magic damage, but you also don't get to punish the mid hero being gone, and I think that's where maybe he goes for this build, assuming that the next assassin is going to be poking his head around, mana burning, and making it not so easy for him to play, but it's definitely a very different Leshrac build than what we've seen the few Leshracs already in this tournament go for. And, well, what do you do? And he has to be so careful, because without a teammate behind him, they're trying to set up on mid with the arena, and Well, there
There
we
it
go.
is. Arena into Spear. Matthew's going to make his way over for the follow-up Impale Stun. They don't quite have the damage yet, but there it is. I have to wait until the arena sort of dissipates there, but they will still get the kill, and unfortunately, there's just nothing that can be done. I mean, Kim had a TP, but he was sort of preoccupied in the jungle, and well, no one else was really in the area to do much of anything, so Thunder Awaken able to get the kill. Matthew now running into Catyu. He's going to look for the rune. Now he'll look for the kill. And with Sacred rotating over, do they have the stun? Yes, they do. Into the scatter. I'll tell you what, Sacred and Matthew already going to work here, ET. Not just in their own lane, but as we just saw, the rotation mid. This is exactly what we expect to see from Matthew on these types of heroes, and if Lava aren't careful, this is going to turn ugly quickly. They're already down by a bit over 1k.
Yeah, and I do think it's just them being simply a little bit happier in the laning stage here. And of course, in the mid lane, there was a little bit of a bully situation going on with all those lightning storms, but now you kind of get to chill for at least a little bit here. And okay, that's the kisses. He just got level 6 in the wave. He's splitting his targets, so this is a little bit hard.
Not going to have the damage there. Meanwhile, down bot. Well, no, not down bot. We'll keep it top because Matthew does get taken down. Catyu's finally able to get that combo in. They will find the kill, but it turns out the fight bot did actually keep going after all. Frank and Kim both taken down. Pikaz will pick up the double. Leo style, though. He's going to be in there to clean up one in exchange as he'll finish off Panda, but these are not the kills you want to be giving up right now. The Razor was already farming well, ET. Now he's got 2 more kills on the board. You take a look at that net worth chart. He's about 500 or 600 ahead of the highest core on the lava side.
No, he's absolutely having a pretty good time right now. And I think that's where the question with Razor always is, how can you turn a 1 lane into something more? But yeah, free arena. We'll see how many 5s Dark Mago kills in this game, because whenever he does get the mid Mars, he is always willing to use that arena if he knows he can get some gold in his pocket.
I mean, that is maybe one of the benefits of running this Mars as a mid laner. You don't have to hold your arena for the big play TM, you know, the way that an offlaner would. You can kind of just free fire it, because the whole point is you're the mid laner. You are trying to get ahead by any means possible. So Dark Mago not afraid to let it go there, as Leo Style's got to be a little careful. There's no arena here, but there's still multiple stuns that he could get hit up by, but they're not going to go all in for that play. Instead, there's a bit of a fight breaking out in the river. Panda's going to get hit up by the stun here, but is that enough to bring him down? I think the Pulse Nova, yes, will get the kill, but Dark Mago, he got himself a spear stun onto Catyu, forcing him under the tower. Catyu is really just going to try and fight this out. Don't think he would have gotten away if he tried to just run, but that does mean he's going to get taken down, and Dark Mago really just able to turn that one into a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, not really sure. You felt like he was a little bit out of place there, but of course they knew that there wasn't an arena, so they're trying to play up on their opponents. But it's also where I think it would have been too much of a commitment from Leo style, and very clearly he wants to farm some of these stacks that he got. It's an arcane ring as well. It's not quite nice for him, but I think
You get into range. Yes, he can.
Yeah.
The Impale just at the edge of the max range there, as Pikaz is able to pick up another kill. 3-0 now for the Razor, and well, Frank had been doing a pretty decent job of avoiding that aggression through the initial minutes of the laning stage, but now, I think, what, that's 2 deaths in the last 2 to 3 minutes, and it's not just that the LC is getting taken down. If that was it, okay, sure, that's recoverable, but it is the Razor building up that steam because of it.
yeah, and you look at Pikaz's build, just immediately into the BKB after the Falcon Blade, and well, once he gets it, you've got a huge problem on your hands. How are Lava actually going to deal with it? The easiest solution is to just duel him up and then hope for the best, but that's where I think Frank just loses that duel. I think he's really gotten the short end of the stick here. He's not getting really very much farm. A lot of the times his lane's been actually farmed out by the Leshrac, who is just making farming rotations. He's very farmed for this stage of the game. He's sitting right up there, second net worth, but at the same time, your Legion really is getting nothing, and if he goes for this just raw Blink Dagger play, it's gonna be a little bit scary for him. He already isn't really the best on levels, but now if you just throw a level 7, level 8 Legion Commander into a duel, I think these cores on Thunder Awaken might just be a little bit too hard to kill. Sacred would be the easiest one, but that's also where he is farming up quite the storm in the top lane as well.
Yeah, his net worth is honestly pretty damn good. I mean, far and away leading Frank, which at this point every other core is, but you take a look at him, he's only about 100 or so gold behind Kataro on that Luna, so Thunder Awaken really not missing on too much here, as Kataro's actually going to TP himself down bot. And, okay, this is just a play for this Ancient Stack, I believe, as they are going to hit him up with the Disruption, and Kataro will try and catch up via the Ancient Stack. So, this should be relatively well protected. I don't think anyone from Thunder Awaken's going to come up here. The problem is, it's well protected, but it's almost overly protected. You've got Leo Style here, Kim is here, Frank is just sitting at the top of the ramp to make sure no one comes, so that is a great farm for the Luna, by all means, but that required 4 heroes to farm it.
Yeah, but hey, that's a lot of levels. Unfortunately, I don't think Frank was more or less the bodyguard for the ramp there, so he didn't get to partake. And well, splitting a 4-stack engine creep 4 ways XP wise, isn't going to be the biggest boost. But it's where I think now it's going to be up to Thunder Awaken to make these aggressive plays. They've got a full Blink Dagger built up on Dark Mega, 11 minutes into the game. Not to mention he's got an Arcane Rune, so he's certainly going to be looking for those picks. But that's also where Leo Style, with killing that Ancient Stack, he's got a Hood of Defiance. He's going to be a little bit tankier than I think maybe they're going to be prepared for on Thunder Awaken, and they want to look for a kill, and because they've got the Demonic Purge, how do they respond?
Big target, even going to get the Solar Guardian coming in for the extra damage, and they've got it. Kaz gets taken down. Meanwhile, it looks like Frank is just... Nope, not barely going to get away. He will be taken down as Dark Mago and Matthew make their move there. But Dark Mago, very importantly, did not use the Arena. Now the Mortimer Kisses are going to come in. The Arena will be deployed. Dark Mago, though, is not great on HP, so he'll throw out the stun. But they don't have enough damage to get the kill yet. Dark Mago, though, wants back in. There's the Rebuke into the Ignite. That should be enough. Leo Style will fall, but they would love even more. They're trying to track down Katyu. Spear, though, unfortunately, threading the needle between those two heroes in the worst possible way. Now Kataro arrives. Dark Mago's got to get out, but Kim is able to take him down with the poison damage. And I don't know if they want this fight, but because he's respawned, he wants revenge. He's going to get in here with the Static Link, looking to finish off Katyu first. They will find that kill. Now they're on into the LC, who, oh my god, Frank just doesn't have a lot of durability there, as he's easily taken out of that one. Kataro, though, trying to take the fight on the other side, but Matthew pops the Carapace. That's a big stun. Panda now comes in with the follow-up for the Fire Blast, and Kaz just waltzes in and finishes off a triple kill. Kataro, I mean, trying to do everything he can, but it still just feels a little bit too early for that Luna to be the big bad that they needed. They get a nice kill at the start of that fight for sure, but not going to be worth it in the end.
No, and it's a trap that Lava fell into the last time they went versus Thunder Awaken. They would get a pick with a nifty smoke. They would then try to push their advantage, and then Thunder Awaken keep them around. And what a nice way for Pekaz to re-enter into the game. I think that's his full BKB flying out on the courier now after that triple kill. And, well, now that same play into the jungle doesn't really exist for you. And I think that's where Lava, they might need to take a little bit of a step back here, wait for the Blink Dagger on the Legion Commander before they get aggressive again. But that's where Thunder Awaken just have this safety net to play with now. And, well, you also look at what they're doing. They're making Vendetta plays. They're going to look for the Luna. They know that she's probably going to back off as soon as she loses that fight. And they're only going to get Katyu here. And, oh, Dark Mago. Well,
You had so many other places with trees, and unfortunately he picks the one where it's already been cut down there. But it would have been nice, but you didn't really commit too much. The arena gets held. It's a kill into Katyu that would have been neat, but not worth a whole lot. So they'll look for other targets, and now they have the means to really hit onto somebody big with the DD rune bottled up. And Dark Mago is getting close to Kataro. Don't think he's going to be able to catch up, but you at least run the Luna out of her farming rhythm. And now if you're Thunder Awaken, this is the point of the game, ET, where I think we really need to see them put pressure on these towers, because they really haven't taken much other than that tier 1 bot.
yeah, and I do think that's where this top tower is going to be the next cost, and Katyu needs to do a really good job of, well, not dying, but that's where, unfortunately, is Sacred with the Blink Dagger of his own. He is right there, and this is quite the quick commitment from Thunder Awaken. This does mean that they're most likely going to use their bottom tower, but if they really want to, they could just flood teepees here. At the same time, though, I think Dark Mega pushing in the mid lane just means that we're probably going to see the focus shift over towards this mid tower push. And hey, you've got Arena, you've got a DD rune. If Lava don't respond appropriately, they could lose much more than just this mid tower. They have to be very cautious with how they actually engage here. Fortunately for Lava, though, Thunder Awaken can't swing into the Roche pit if this mid tower push becomes too hard. They do kind of have to stick around and just take the tower instead.
Frank at least was finally able to get his hands on that Blink Dagger, so you now have that sort of extra range for the lockdown. But as you were sort of alluding to earlier, ET, Frank blinks in, and it's boots and a bracer in terms of his damage and his durability for that matter. So if he duels, that's neat, but I don't know if he wins that duel by himself. He's going to need a lot of backup, which kind of defeats the purpose as, well, Kim going to get himself picked off there because, oh, really starting to get that streak back up and running here. 8-1 for the Razor. He is now just moving right along to a refresher orb at this point.
No.
And did he just catch? Yes, he did. They got the Luna. This would be big. The Mortimer Kisses are coming through. Katyu trying to make the defensive play, but it just won't be enough. Kataro's dead. Katyu should be falling as well. And that is a pickoff they could not afford to give over. But now, I mean, there's really nothing more that they can do. At least their tier 2 tower is not going to get immediately pressured because the creep wave isn't cooperating, but your Luna gets taken off the map in a situation where she's already 3k behind the Razor's farm. I mentioned he was working his way towards a refresher. He's really closing in on it. I mean, he's going to have BKB refresher at, what, 18, 19 minutes here?
Yeah, and that's where you have to wonder for Lava. Did they just end up drafting a little bit too slow damage? Would they have rather wanted a Scarith Mage to pair with the Legion Commander? Is their pickoff potential too poor in this game? Because it really does feel like a forcing play for this LC to try and find a smoke duel. And what happens if the SC and the LC do find a target? It's not like they're going to die in the next 5 seconds. I hazard to say they wouldn't be dead in 10 seconds just because they don't have that easy burst damage potential. And it's also where, unfortunately, looking at Kataro's build, and he's going for the build that he went the last time he played this Luna, you don't have that BKB next up in queue. You don't have the Hurricane Pike coming out next. He's going to go for this Mantis style so he can get a few more items down the road, but until we get to that point, these items are going to come in very, very slowly, and it's where Bakaza is the exact opposite idea of that build. He is 100% useful. Everything he's building is very relevant, where Kataro is definitely hoping that he doesn't lose the game outright. That's also where Thunder Awaken, they are just constantly going to be looking for you if you are forced to farm.
Katyu just unfortunately getting caught out there in the jungle as Thunder Awaken find themselves another kill. They were rotating their way down bot. I think they would have loved to go after Leo style instead, but Katyu is right there in front of you, and you are easily going to be able to catch up as Sacred really is working to close the gap, as now they're going to go in onto Frank to hit him up with the spear into the Mortimer Kisses, and that's just an easy pick. Even going to use the last couple kisses to try and break through that creep wave that little bit faster, and Thunder Awaken really just firing on all cylinders right now, and Leo style, I mean, he's still bot. Matthew's going to try looking for him, and oh man.
My goodness.
That is unfortunate. Don't know if that ward saw that TP or not, but Matthew just shuts it down. Because will now come in, and Leo style just has to eat this death. There's nothing to be done.
No, that's so pretty from Matthew. He places the ward. No, he just walked into the tree line and then scans just to be safe. But man, that is a very pretty play. And then Katyu is also under threat mid. It's just constantly Thunder Awaken looking for these pickoffs and trying to split you across the map here. But honestly, at the very least, these deaths do mean that Kataro gets to finish off his Manta style, which now means that he can play a little bit more into that split push style of, I'm going to Manta out a lane, you have to come deal with it. And if there's one thing to be said about Thunder Awaken's lineup, they don't do Roche the easiest. They are going to have to definitely work for it. Unfortunately, that's where Razor is at his weakest point. Doesn't benefit at all. The Static Storm, everybody pops the Eye of the Storm whenever they go into the pit, but doesn't do anything. But that's where I think they're just going to keep on running at you instead. They don't even need the Aegis when it comes to actually fighting. And Panda might be a little bit far out here, but oh, the duel.
Okay, they get the duel down onto the Mars. The Cookie, though, is going to push him away. And now the arena comes in. The Spear Stun will be there. Nice disruption to try and keep Frank alive, but for how long? Once he's out, he's immediately taken down. Kataro's going to try to TP home, and he at least makes it, but that means the rest of the team is just stuck. Yeah, everyone else is going to have to pay the price. Maybe not Kim, though. Hold on. Making a break for it. Nope, Dark Mega's going to shut that down right away. Gets in with the blink. Kaz grabs the triple. And Lava, I mean, you keep the Luna alive. That's got to count for something, but that's 4 dead for a Nyx Assassin kill. They don't get the dual win that they were hoping for onto the Mars, or even the kill for that matter. And, you know, we were talking about the durability and the save from this Lava lineup, right? With the Shadow Demon, the Legion, the Dawnbreaker. That's not really counting for a whole lot right now.
No, and that's also where that only really plays into effect when they're the ones aggressing, when they're the ones getting on your buildings, when they get to have that formation, then they feel pretty good. But when you take these scrappy fights constantly, and we're kind of in that game now where they're forced to take these very scrappy engagements, they're adopting a split push style. That's exactly what Thunder Awaken want. They want to find you alone on the side of the map. They're the team with the Nyx Assassin. They don't want you to deathball because then Matthew can't make any plays, but that's where Paz, and they got him without the BKB. This could be big.
Big duel onto Bakaz. Where's the damage, though?
Oh.
Kataro can't get into the arena, so they don't have any damage. And now this is going to turn. Leo Sao completely isolated from his teammates.
No.
He falls. Frank dead. Kataro trying to TP away again, and he will make it away a second time, but the results are honestly even worse. At least last time they got a kill on the Nyx Assassin. This time they get nothing.
Yeah, it's just too many stuns, too many abilities to run into, and they do just immediately demonic purge up the Razor, but that arena placement is just too good from Dark Mago, and until you have BKBs on Lava, there really isn't a great way for them to team fight, as I think they're going to look for the kill onto the SD, and probably is going to get it here. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Well, Caillou's coming in. Okay, they'll take down one. Can they get Dark Mago, though? Not really, but they're TPing in like they want to try and keep this going. Everybody made their way top, but doesn't really look like there's a fight to be had at this stage. Come on. Oh, hold on. No, Panda. Okay. Starts off with a stun. Here comes Bakaz. BKB not available, though, so he's going to get hit up by the duel again. Sacred trying to come in to help out. Dark Mago even coming in with the pushback from the rebuke, but it's not enough. Bakaz falls. Sacred's dead as well, and Dark Mago, he's got a TP out. Is the physical damage enough? No. He will make it home, but because that honestly felt greedy. Just wait a little while longer and your BKB's back up, and then you're not quite untouchable, but pretty close. Instead, they sort of jump the gun, and they do end up paying a pretty hefty price.
Yeah, and I think that that's where they really need to be cautious. The reason that they can fight as easily as they can is because Matthew is in the game and he's there threatening with the Carapace, but they take that fight knowing that the Nyx Assassin's already dead, so Wheelstar just gets to throw to Splitters, and as soon as it connects, I think that because getting greedy with his BKB isn't really an option anymore, and they're looking to snowball this, and maybe they get the duel.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's the duel. Should be an easy win. Now they're looking to get onto the Nyx, but they run into Dark Mago. That is a little bit awkward. He's going to throw down that two-man spear. He does have the shard in hand. That should really just sort of set everything back. As Lava, this is a bit of a downside. They've got 5 heroes on their opponent's side of the river, but their creep wave's too far back to really do much with the glyph coming in, so they do have to make the retreat, but you're starting to see them at least push forward, ET, compared to, well, back when they had single-digit kills and they were just getting sort of run at and being forced to play defensively on their own side.
Yeah, and I think this is where Thunder Awaken need to not fall into their own trap here. They need to realize, okay, our flawless game is tarnished. That is how we have to play now. We have to actually start to look for these kills, because you give up a few plays like that, and those were 2 very successful plays for Lava. Now Katara's looking at a BKB being done. Now you're looking at Leo style and saying that he's going to have this Sanjin Kai, and he's going to be able to put out way more damage. And you also, I think, really need to give a little bit more respect over to Frank. I think his LC, it's actually starting to find those duels. He's finding those engagements, and with the Blade Mail, he can actually do quite a lot of damage to you, and that's also where the Soul Catcher is the perfect spell from behind. It's always going to do 35% of your current HP, and again, without Thunder Awaken able to translate their lead into Roche, or at least not very quickly, you start to wonder if Lava's opening is starting to begin, because, well, the aggression is falling back a little bit, and okay, they get the mid tower. Now, did they just set up Leo style for death, though?
They missed the stun. Kisses are coming through, though, but there's going to be your duel, locking down Dark Mago. They're still just taking too much damage, and Matthew, he actually got the Carapace stun in there. Leo Style and Frank both get locked down. Kataro is now looking for the TP again. This time, though, he is not getting away. He was able to slip by twice, but third time around, Thunder Awaken get the kill. Kaz is there to clean things up. I believe he got 3 of those kills, and now, well, you said before, they're not a great Roche team, but if they can take it for free here, they will be able to break their way through it.
Yeah, and that's where you really give kudos over to Sacred for having that Little Shredder, because it will make it just that bit easier, but it's also just For the first time there, after Lava feeling like they're trying to take this game back, they go on a BKB target. Frank unfortunately gets him after the BKB is already used. They had to go. Their Leshrac was going to die if they did nothing, but I think hiding themselves into that disadvantageous engagement is kind of unfortunate because, well, now everything, their opening is kind of shut, and we're back to Thunder Awaken just running you across the map.
Yeah, they shut down the split push play from KatU there as well on the back end, so really just trying to put the punishment onto Lava again, just kind of squash that attempt at the comeback effort, which, like you said, that's where Thunder Awaken really have their only issues. That was a little bit of what happened in that loss that they had in the Hikori series back in the first round, as Matthew's going to get jumped in on, quick and easy dual win, but now they got to deal with Kaz. BKB activated. He did get hit up by the Purge, though, so Kaz really doesn't want to be here, and he is just going to TP himself away. Able to survive as he gets back to the fountain, but okay. Lava able to grab themselves a dual win and a kill, and to the point I was making before that fight, when Hikori were able to get that lone win in their series, it was a similar fashion, right? They had a position 1 Tiny that needed time to build up, but eventually they were able to do so, and looking at Lava, it may be a similar scenario with this Luna.
Yeah, okay. Tiny might be a little bit better than the Luna.
True, yeah.
Let's be real. that here might be a little bit broken, but
Just a wee bit.
I think that's also where Thunder Awaken are still very reliant on the Nyx Assassin. I think if Lava can continuously find him, their fight really becomes that much easier, and I think that's where Thunder Awaken in the draft is a brutal thing to both of Lava's cores and their supports. Everybody is just terrified of the Carapace, and Matthew also has just the very nice build here, not messing around with the Mana Murder and the Ags instead of just getting the Blink Dagger. And that's also where Sacred has an Aghanim Scepter of his own. So now, well, whoever you duel, whoever you go for, Sacred has to be very careful. I kind of want to see him turn around for a BKB just so that way there's no fear of him getting clipped by those stuns. But there's always going to be that threat now of you getting gobbled up and then spat out, and then, well, they've got the initiation here. And real style,
this is a big angle.
But
there's the arena.
Yeah.
And press the attack was there. That's a pretty clutch play. The problem is, will it be enough? Leostyle just has to try and TP out, but he's not going to make it. Kim and Leostyle both dead. Frank is falling back. Kaz not going to be able to catch up just yet. Meanwhile, Kataro, he stops to farm a camp, and yeah, that's not going to be a good idea for him. What a shot. Long range for Sacred. Able to make it happen. Kataro's going to be forced to use his BKB. That should get him out of there, but if they didn't know about the Ags before, they certainly know now. Now they're going to have to be so careful, because if Sacred can force out a BKB from long range just by throwing Matthew in there, Kataro's durability is going to take a rather sizable hit.
Yeah, and now Thunder Awaken, they do need to clean their waves up a little bit. The split push is certainly being felt, but I think that's where once this courier is back online for Kaz, he's going to have the Aghanim Scepter. That's going to be your run it down. After we win a fight, we're going to take your tier 3, and there's not much you can do about it. And Thunder Awaken are certainly kind of rushing in and pushing their heads on those towers, but I think that's where does Kataro have enough time here? He's looking for the Hurricane Pike. He'd love a Scotty on top of it, but there's just no way he gets that much gold that quickly. Lava are still desperately trying to buy time here, and well, KatU's doing a pretty good job in the top lane, and he actually has an Aghanim Scepter, so maybe that's going to be the difference maker here, just having that evasion, having that longer heal, but I think Lava need to continuously look and find these plays, and they're making a little bit of space right now. They're playing in 2 lanes, while Thunder Awaken are kind of forced to play in 1, but that's also where you still can't fight Thunder Awaken in a pure 5v5. Lava still needs to look to split them up somehow.
For now, though, just going to play it a little bit slow. 1 minute on that Aegis timer, so if you can just sit back and allow that to time out before you take the next fight, that would be fantastic. But it looks like the fight may be breaking out. Matthew's going to be able to stun up KatU. Sacred... Oh man, look at all the stuns he's got here. I mean, he's got the spit out play. That's a stun. He's got the cookie. He's got the upgraded scatter blast. So really, KatU, once he's jumped in on, just doesn't really get the chance to even do anything to defend himself.
Oh, and Sacred, he almost took the bait. I've seen Lava, they spend so much of their time around these cliff wards, and they're hoping that anyone comes in and gives them a pick, but it just doesn't happen. And now you have to be so careful because you're almost expired Aegis Razor is running around, and he did just catch a glimpse of the Luna there, so it looks like we might see them immediately try to evacuate out here. Because even such an illusion just so that way he gets a little bit more damage for farming, and that's really all it is. But what a pickup. Find spider legs on Razor? Well, that's kind of annoying if you're Lava.
Yep. Just gonna slot that in as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, Courier's 15 seconds out, so should be able to get the final components of that Ags into play. You see him queuing up the Blink Dagger as well, so really, Picaz is just going to go all in. I mean, he's got 2 ults, he's going to have his Ags upgrade, he's going to have Lincoln Sphere and BKB, so he really does just want to get directly into the middle of lava, and I don't really know if they're going to have the durability to survive that. That really has not been the case to this point, as Matthew, okay, might be in a little bit of trouble here. He's going to be able to blink himself out, however. Can they actually catch up to him? Right now, it looks like the answer is no, so Matthew runs into, what, 3 heroes there and just walks away.
Yeah, and maybe if he triggers the poison, Matthew had the poison in him. It's just maybe a little bit of a niche play from Moose there that he doesn't end up going for, but Lava are still dodging out, and, well, because with the blink, he gets a BKB and they need to help him, but they know the purge isn't there.
Leo Style just running out of health. He's going to get taken down. They'll
my
lose
God.
to Katyu. Well, I think he's going to make it back. Nope, there's the kisses to take him down. Kataro, though, gets sort of baited into this. He activated the BKB,
no.
but because of so much damage, you cannot take this straight up. And, yeah, they'll find that out the hard way. They will lose that. Frank comes in for the duel, which he will then lose to Panda. That's a little bit embarrassing, but was not a straight 1v1 there either way. You're still dead on the LC. Buyback is available, and at this stage, it kind of feels like they're going to need some. Well, actually, I say that, but there's no creep wave even remotely close to that bottom lane, so Thunder Awaken will instead shift their focus mid, but that still means they're on the high ground taking a tier 3.
Yeah, and it is a slow push, but I think this is certainly going to be the entire mid lane of Rax. Maybe they aren't able to fall up for more, but with the AC on Dark Mega, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's also where I think Lava, they're really looking for these next item timings, but unfortunately, with the Leshrac just finishing up his BKB, he is still really easy to kill. The Razor still doesn't really care about any of his damage, and I think that's the real problem right now, is there's nothing for you to really put out that's making this Razor fear you, and when he pops his BKB, well, you can't duel him either, because you need to hit him up with the Demonic Purge, you need to then duel him after that, and do you have enough damage to deal with a Razor who's BKB'd, who isn't Demonic Purged? It's just way too big. It's way too much net worth that I think this Razor has right now. Not to mention he's being propped up by the AC on Dark Mago. So it's a combination of issues that I think Lava can really only solve with their own net worth and more net worth of their own. And maybe if Kataro gets the Scotty, I can see them making the comeback. It would have to be an overextension from Thunder Awaken, but that's where maybe they can look for that misplay into the easy victory. But that's also where they are on a tightrope. They're looking for these item timings. They're not really playing around buybacks. If the Luna dies here, the game is probably over.
I was just going to jump past the front line looking for it. Frank did get the duel off, but he is stunned and just sort of stuck inside the arena. He will be taken down as Dark Mago wins the duel. Picaz, meanwhile, just wreaking havoc on that back line. They'll take Kataro out. Kim's getting pushed away from the engagement while his teammates are just going to get rounded up and taken down. Katyu dead. Leo Sal dead. Kim dead. And if they were in trouble before, now this honestly might just be the end of it. There is a single buyback on Frank, and you don't really have to care about the other lanes of Rax. Picaz can just go straight in. He's going to be losing his ult there, unfortunately, but they still have the strength to push through, as they're going to go straight onto the tier 4s.
Yeah, and I think that probably is going to be the end of the game. They don't have Glyph, they don't have buybacks, and yeah, they are just going to call it here, but man, almost a flawless game from Thunder Awaken, but I think that's where, and it's a trap that we've seen previous teams, and I want to say kind of four Zoomers fall into, where they just simply don't have enough burst. They pick up this LC, they don't have anyone to play with, and then they kind of run out of plays, and I think that's where the Lesh is great. The Lesh is a good idea. Your opener feels incredibly strong, but it's also where I think the Razor just slotted in a little too perfectly for Thunder Awaken. Because did not need to care about the Leshrac's damage. Katara wasn't big enough to make him scared of the physical damage, so the Razor just gets to kind of run all over you. And the only hero on the map that can cause any threat to him is your Legion Commander, who got Razored in lane, who didn't have a good start after that. who then tried to make a comeback, but then it just kept on getting thrown back into Thunder Awaken's plate. It just felt like always they had the initiation. And Sacred and Dark Mago didn't skip a beat. They never really fell off the activity. They were always looking for those easy plays. And also, the Nyx Assassin was kind of a monster pick. Nobody on Lava can play versus that hero. And I think that was probably the big oversight here, because Matthew was way too effective.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at the stat line there, 28 assists for that Nyx Assassin, only the 5 deaths. So, didn't even really have to be the sacrificial lamb. He was just scouting out, making plays left and right, and you can see the results. As Thunder Awaken, as you said, play that almost flawlessly. Game goes, you know, past that sort of 30-minute mark just by virtue of Lava putting up some stubborn resistance, but it always felt like Thunder Awaken were very much the team in control, just sort of biding their time and being patient, not forcing the issue.
Yeah, and I think that's where come game 2, maybe get a little bit more damage, maybe get a little bit more bursts. I love the respect that they give to this Shadow Demon. I do think he is one of those broken heroes in the meta that certainly feels stronger than everyone else by just a little bit, but it's also where I think you have to find that balance. You have to find a solution to that hero. I would have loved to play Timbersaw in this game, if I'm being honest, but that's where I think Thunder Awaken also, they're so precise on their bans. They're so good at getting you in a position where you don't have an answer. It's too late. You don't have time for a response. And I think maybe in game 2, Lava try to split push just a little bit earlier, because give him a little bit more net worth. I don't think it looks that grim, but I think that's where Thunder Awaken just didn't give him the time.
And that has been the calling card of Thunder Awaken for a lot of this event, just pushing too hard and too fast before their opponents are ready. So it's a strat that has worked before, and it works here as well, as Thunder Awaken take the opening match of this best of 3. Question now is, can Lava make that adjustment? Can they fight back, or is this going to be another situation where Thunder Awaken just kind of bulldoze their opponents here? They have yet to lose a single match to anyone other than Hikori. Lava, at this point, need to be able to break that trend, otherwise they're heading down, heading down to the lower bracket. So we shall see what game 2 holds. Just about 10 minutes out now from the start of that draft. So we will step away for a little bit and be back in about 10 minutes. See you then.